Oisashiburi da na, YouTube. Long time no see, everybody. We are 1vs1 Gaming on Pass of Sticks. And as always, we are talking games. I got a deep vault worth of videos I want to make. Unfortunately, I have a finite amount of time. That's just what happens when you get married, you have a kid, and you have a job. So pro tip number one to all you young gamers: don't get married, don't have children, and don't get a job. It's a trap. Run. Anyways, let's get right into it. So we're going to be talking this week about how this past week has been the worst week for Sony, PlayStation in general, since the PSN outage back in 2013, which rendered online gaming unusable for an entire month. It also leaked credit card numbers, it leaked passwords, personal information, that kind of stuff. I was gaming mainly on PlayStation when that happened with my PlayStation crew, Double Down crew, DDC, shout out. We were jamming COD, wrecking shop there, and playing zombies once in a while. So when it went down, I was the only one that had both consoles, so I just switched over. Wasn't a big deal. These guys had to suffer for an entire month without playing any of the games they love, which pissed them off, and it actually made them not buy PlayStation 4s at launch. They were just like, I'll wait to see if they can prove themselves. But in general, when it came back up a month later, between then and launch day of PS4, they were able to drain a lot of the bad blood. They came out with a couple of really key games that put PlayStation back in a positive light, spotlight, you could say, like The Last of Us, one of the best games ever, and definitely probably the best game on PlayStation 3 that generation. The game was near perfect, and Naughty Dog hit it out of the park for Sony. Sony owes them, I think, a lot to get the goodwill back in the Sony name. So this week, what they did is they had their PlayStation meeting, which is just a PlayStation. It was an event to unveil the PlayStation Slim. They unveiled the PlayStation Slim, the PlayStation Pro, which was the PlayStation Neo code name, right? So we have the PlayStation Slim, which is just called the PlayStation. That'll be the standard. It's nearly identical without one optical port to plug in like high-end earphones, but besides that, it's nearly identical. Just I think it might even be a little smaller, a little uglier, but whatever. It's $50 cheaper, which is awesome. And then you have the PlayStation Pro, which it's mid-generation iteration of PlayStation 4, and it's just for higher end gaming, but not really. And we won't go in depth on that, because that's not where, I don't think that's where they shit the bed either. I think it was the actual conference is where they shit the bed. It was boring. It was the driest. It was the most heartless, soulless conference I've ever seen a video game a video game company come out and do. Like last year, I think Microsoft, they had like the Minecraft bit where they had that super weird dude that was just made everything uncomfortable, but it was humorous. It made you feel something. You smiled because it was so weird, right? This one just was like, well, when is it going to get interesting? And then it ended, and you're like, geez, not only was the news underwhelming, but like this whole conference was a waste of my time. I could have just read or watched a video on IGN or 1vs1 Gaming on the details, wink wink. But they shit the bed right there, right? And that just definitely, I think, put a negative taste in a lot of people's mouth because of Sony's Microsoft's Xbox Slim, and how it's more comparable to PlayStation's PlayStation 4 Pro, where they still have Scorpio coming out, which I think, and it looks like that it's just going to crush. It's going to be on a whole different level. It's basically going to be a generational gap between PlayStation Pro and Xbox Scorpio. So it's all negative news towards Sony. Their messaging was horrible. And then after that, it came out that in August is best-selling, the NPD Xbox was the best-selling console, which hasn't been the trend, but it was in July. So July, August, now Microsoft kind of taken over that top-selling console place. Is it going to be, the norm where Xbox will catch up to PlayStation like PlayStation caught up to Xbox last gen? We're right around the time where it happened last gen, so probably. But on top of that, like the nail in the coffin this week for Sony was The Last Guardian. Yes, The Last Guardian is delayed again, right? This is nuts, right? It's been in development for 7 years. It's been delayed like, I don't even know. In this past year alone, it's been delayed like 4 times or something. It's just absolutely ridiculous. This is after, Horizon Zero Dawn got delayed out of this year completely. So you have 2 of Sony's, maybe only, but at least 2 of their top first party studios are delaying their games out of, for me it's out of holiday 2016 because it's going into December, but you have to hit the pre-Black Friday to push huge sales in your games, right? Probably the only games that don't have to do that are probably Grand Theft Auto and maybe Fallout, but even Fallout 4 was a misstep, so it'll probably be just Grand Theft Auto is the only one that can come after November and still hit it out of the park, make some massive numbers. And so Sony has been struggling to put out first party games. I think they're focused on VR, which is an awesome thing, but you can't hinder a product that's super successful just to look towards the future, and so they lost the NPD this month. Their conference was shit. Their unveils were super underwhelming, and then their big most anticipated game of this year just got delayed. It's in December, so it got delayed a couple months. But you're missing Black Friday. You're missing you're cutting your own throat and bleeding slow, because a lot of people who've just are excited for it. Well, it keeps getting delayed, and each time you delay it, you're cutting a little bit more, right? And then you're losing that much more fans. You're getting people who are just over it. So now these people who probably pre-ordered it or are going to were gonna pre-order it, they're gonna wait for reviews. So this game better be an 8 or higher, whatever that means. Just be a great game. Otherwise, this game is going to be the biggest fucking flop. It's going to be a big floppy flapping around, right? It's going to be ridiculous because people have been waiting. This game is over 7 years in development, and they're delaying it after they've delayed it multiple times. It looks like it could run on a PS3. I'm not doubting that it's not going to be good. I'm just saying, shit looks like Avatar, the Nickelodeon anime, which I love personally, but it doesn't look special. It doesn't look like anything that's going to be crazy or a game changer for Sony, and I think it'll sell mediocre. So that was for me, that's the nail in the coffin. Tides are turning. Microsoft is definitely going to start catching up, I think, especially with this powerhouse next 6 months of games they're going to be releasing. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. If you guys could tell me, if I'm right or wrong in the comments, go for it. Also, if there's any videos you want to see soon, throw that down in the comments. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Until next time, keep playing those games. I'm out.